All right, everybody, we're live. A few minutes early, making sure everything works okay, making sure hopefully we don't have a fiasco like we did last week when everything just dropped. Got kicked off the whole thing and just, yeah. So apparently we don't have anybody on here yet. Am I looking at this right? Wow, I see Dale. Hello, Dale. Well, going to give it a couple more minutes for people to get on here. Is there anybody out there? Anybody? All right. Well,
can you not see us in the chat?
No.
Yeah, a whole bunch of us have said hi.
I cannot see anybody in the chat. This is weird.
DNS Tech has said something. Richard Pizal has said something. Matt German, Bradley Cornell.
Guys, I cannot see anything in the chat. I'm sorry about that. Oh, let's see.
William Willems, Matt German, Carrie Page, Corey Wright, Matt Mosley, Stuart Cook, Mark McGuire.
I see nothing in the chat. I can't even see. It doesn't even show me like how many people's on here. What is going on with StreamYard? See, there's like nothing in the chat. There's no dial.
Y'all.
The dogs are barking, guys. Even though I can't see you in the chat. I mean, what's up with that? I don't understand.
Oh, Nick just came in.
This is why I wanted to go on early.
I don't know.
Okay.
View on. Hold on, get back up there. Go on view on YouTube and see what it does.
Let's see. No, we don't want to do that.
You're about to view. Yeah.
Do 19 watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all of that's in there.
I see you now. I'm on YouTube.
Do you need to pull that tab so you can see the feed?
Don't know. Let me. This is really pissing me off.
Yeah, you can just kind of do that. So that way you can see the video.
Okay.
Pull that tab out where YouTube is.
Uh-huh.
Pull it out into a separate window. And then reduce it down to where you can see the chat.
All right. See, what would I do without my wife here?
The things you know when you work in communications.
Right.
So
we're going to narrow this down, guys, so I can see you guys in the chat.
Make it taller too. Maybe you can see the.
All right. Because I have no idea why this thing is not working correctly. All right. Thank you, dear.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You'll get my bell later.
Yeah. All right. Okay, guys. Let's do this here. Let's see if we can get this off and running here. All right, because I'm gonna have to share my screen here in a second. That's what I'm thinking is gonna wind up screwing up. So, okay. Yeah, I you guys can see me and everything like that, but I can't see anything in the chat, so I'm having to, shrink things down a little bit, and that way I can see your comments and stuff, and, yeah. Alright. So, let me see here. One more thing I gotta do, and then we will be ready to go here. And this is why I'm getting ready to switch, although I don't think it's the communicate or, the internet service tonight, but I'm, like, doomed with these things. There's, like, always something going on. Alright. Alright, so let's see here. Okay. Alright, so thank you guys for showing up tonight. Not sure what is going on or whatever like that. So, anywho, we're gonna get to it. There's like a slight delay, so the thing that I'm looking at over here is uh, the delay, what you guys see. So, what I'm gonna do is I have a lot of people in my Discord, a lot of people that message me and stuff, and they're still having trouble with settings. And one thing I want to do tonight is kind of like show you guys what I do. Now, what I do and what you do are basically two different things. Um, uh, what I do may work for you, may not work for you, but I'm going to go through some of the pointers that I do. We'll talk a little bit about orientation. We'll talk a little bit about, just general settings. We'll talk about infill, things like that. And hopefully, this will give you an idea of what you can do to maybe help your process. So, already somebody asked, what printer are we going to use? So, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use the Sonic Mega AK, from Frozen, just as a printer. I'm gonna use Chikibox. Again, you may use a totally different slicer. You may use Lychee, you may use something totally different. But we're gonna go ahead and we're going to use, this right here. So, let me see if I could share my screen here, and when I do this, I'm not gonna be able to respond to any questions or anything like that, so because 'cause I'm not gonna be able to see my chat, um, but we're gonna go ahead and start now. Let me see if I can share screen. Hi, Quinn. How's everybody doing? The audio spotty? When you say spotty, does it mean it kinda, like, comes in and out? Let me back this mic up a little bit and see if that helps. I'm not sure what's going on. Alright, let's see if I can do this because 'cause I've never done this before. If I screw it up, I screw it up. Um, but here we go, alright? Um, it's like cutting out some. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna show you, my entire screen here. Uh, alright, so here um, I have my Cheeky box open. Give me 1 second. Let me get it here and fix a couple of things here. Do, do. All right. So I can see this right here, right now. Okay. So I have to do this right here to follow along since my whole thing is screwed up already. But um, all right. All right. Here we go. All right. So again, I can't really see comments. I think there might. All right, I'm trying to look at this on my phone too, so I can kinda go along with you guys. So let me find a model here. again, this is the the 8K here. I'm gonna use, um, the Jeepers Creepers model since it's Halloween. I'm gonna use it from Jules Model Auto. So, let's go ahead and let's just do it. Let's start with a head here first. There we go. Alright, so Jules has his models basically in 1/6 scale. Let me enlarge this a little bit. That way you guys can see the model itself. It's a really nice model. I've actually already printed this out. The only thing that I have to print now is the base, and it's actually working on it right now. Um, so let's see here. So I'm going to increase this because it is 1/6 scale. I'm going to increase this to 150, making it a quarter scale. And if you want a good scaler, Sanix actually has one on their site that you can use to help you scale models up and down. Um, so let's talk a little bit about orientation. So orientation, what I'm doing is I'm basically just um, I'm basically just I like to tilt it back a little bit. One reason I do that is because if I have any when I do the supports, they're not going to be on in the face or anything like that, causing any issues with details or anything. So, first things first that I'm gonna do once I get it placed, and this is how I've got it. Again, you can orientate it however you want. I like to hold mine, tilt mine back a little bit. That way, I try to get the supports pretty much up underneath here, and that way it doesn't mess with any of the details. So, let's see if I can go hold on a second. Alright. So, first things first I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hollow it out. Wall thickness, for small pieces like this, I usually go 1.8 millimeter. Now the precision is basically what it's doing is it's going to smooth out the inner hull of here. And I always use a grid 3D infill at a 5% density. And the reason I do that is because um, I don't want supports going through my model. So I'm going to show you two scenarios here. So let's go with this right here, or let's go with no infill whatsoever. And then basically you're just going to hit start. It's going to start to, and this is in real time, guys. So I apologize if it's a little slow or whatever, but um, I want to show you actual time of how I do this. That way, nobody um, can say, or everybody can say, hey, um, I get the process or whatever. That way, there's no time lapses. It's sped up, and people can't really follow along. So we'll start out with a head, and then we're going to talk about a torso. We're going to talk about intricate things as well. So we'll kind of cover a little bit of everything tonight, and I'll also cover like bases. That way, you can print bases in one piece and make them turn out to be real good, to make them look real good and not fail as most of the time. And I'll show you a couple tricks on that. So anyway, so if you want this process like this with no infill, this is what you're going to get. Um, you can go through and just see how at 50%, it actually smooths that inner out a little bit. Uh, Now, keep in mind, if you have a rough inner surface like this, you're really probably not going to be able to put any drainage holes on there. It's going to be very particular to do it on smooth surfaces. All right. The next thing I'm going to do now that it's hollow, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add drain holes. Um, I use like a standard 5 millimeter depth. That's because at 1.8 millimeter, the when I'm hollowing it out, the wall thickness, I know it can punch through and it won't. It'll actually go through, and there won't be any issues. So I keep it at 5 millimeters, and I usually like keep it perpendicular to the model rather than to the screen. So, as far as the size, now here's one trick that you guys can do. If you are adding magnets, use what or know what size magnet you're using. Let's say if you're using a 5 millimeter magnet to place into the head, of course, you're going to use a 5 millimeter hole. It's it's going to make it so much easier for you rather than have to drill out a hole into the head with like a drill or something like that. So I'm going to go with 5 millimeter. We're going to dig the holes continuously. That way I don't have to keep coming back to this. I don't need to keep the hole, so I don't check that off. All right, so I'm going to go up underneath, and then right here, bam, I'm going to see if I can add this, and it's going to give me a fit on the first thing. There we go. Okay. All right. So there's your hole on that, but I like to add a few more. Um, that way it gets proper drainage, proper suction. We're not going to have any issues with the thing just completely getting wiped off and breaking off with the supports. I'll even add one back here because this area actually rests on the back of the torso. All right, so it's drainage holes. There we go. Now, one thing I want to show you, keep in mind, we don't have any infill right here. All right, so now I'm going to add supports. And I'll show you a little bit about my supports. The only thing I change here is the density percentage, and I know that the newer models of Cheeky Box doesn't have this. It's somewhere I'm using 1.9.4, but I keep it at 40%. That way, it's not too much, it's not overkill. All right, so now I'm gonna add this. Add the supports, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about, with the supports going up through the model. The reason I try to avoid this is because it'll save me on resin, and these things are actually up inside the model here. So the way you can tell that is, see that? All of that inside right there? So that will actually kinda rattle around over time. You can get resin trapped up into there, and I mean, you can clean it, but you still run the risk of having resin trapped up into there, all on these supports and everything. And keep in mind, we're trying to be a little cost efficient here. So, yeah, so you're gonna be pulling supports out through those drain holes too. You see where those are actually coming up through there. So, let's go ahead and right here, because of the eyelids, you're gonna get a couple of supports right there. Now I use auto supports. You may not want to do that. I like using auto supports. It takes the guesswork out, but this is not gonna affect the detail right here. These two supports coming up through there. And right here, you're gonna need that on these points because if you don't, they're just probably not gonna develop. So you run that chance, that risk. And then, of course, once you get it, um, you can come back and then you can slice it and you're done. All right. So let's go back and let's go ahead. Well, actually, let's go back to this and I'm going to show you the way I do it. And you're going to notice there's a little bit of a difference here. So keep in mind those supports are all up in there, right? All right. So let's go ahead and delete this. Let's put it back on the build plate. Um, all right. I'm going to increase the size again to 150%. Same as I did before. All right, I'm gonna go through the same orientation as I did before. I'm gonna lay it out just like that. All right, and I'm gonna go in and put in the infill structure of Grid 3D at only 5%. If if you add more density, that's up to you, but I just want enough to where it's going to stabilize the structure. And so therefore, hit start, give it a second, and we're doing the same precision at 50% and the same wall thickness at 1.8. Now I can print small detailed areas like a head at 1.5. I would not go below 1.5. It's still stable, but 1.8 is not that much thicker. On bases and larger parts, I'll go up to like a 2.2. So it really depends on what you want to do. I don't need to go any thicker than that. The bases that I use or print are very stable, are very sturdy, and especially with this infill here, and turns out real well. So let's give it a second here. Rob wants to know if that Jules Creeper. Yes, it is. So yeah, Very, very nice model. Jules Modelato has a very nice horror Patreon. And see the grid infill in here? So all that is, it's not really an infill per se. It's basically, stabilization is all it is. All right. So now let's go back in and let's put those same drain holes in the same place. Gonna up it here a little bit. All right. We're gonna go back around, put the drain holes back in the same spots, I should say. All right. And let's put a couple up here like we did before. All right. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put the supports on. We're gonna add them, auto supports, and we're gonna add them up here and give it just a second here. All right, now you see those supports are not up there on the eyebrows, okay? You can add them if you want, but they're not there. The one thing that I want you to take a look at, and I hope it doesn't make me out to be a liar here, there's no inner supports. The supports do not go through the head. It's just the infill. The reason being is because the Chitu box actually acknowledges there's already support in there, and therefore will not put supports all up through there like it did on the other model. That makes sense. So you, don't have that much in there. You got basically this you're not gonna use as much resin, it's not gonna get trapped, it's stabilizing the structure. So, there you go. And that's how I orientate all of my stuff. But this is just a head, and we'll look at some bigger stuff here in just a minute. But hopefully that helps you out. That answers some questions for you. But it's the same 40% density percentage. Everything else is stock. I don't really change anything. I've kind of hit that little sweet spot to where you can do this and get good results from it. All right. So let's go ahead and go back and we're going to delete this. And now let's put a torso on here. We're going to put the same model. We're going to put a torso on here. Um, and we're going to go through a little bit of orientation here. All right. So this one's a tricky one. So let's get it up here. So this one has like a tail on the back, and I'm going to show you how I do this one. All right, let's increase it to 150%. This is going to be a quarter scale. Bam, there we go. As you can see, this build plate here, like I said, it is for the frozen Sonic Mega AK, and I'll show you the settings on here. This is just the machine, and this is what I print with. All right. Um, this I use a little different than my other machines, because of the printer just takes a lot longer, and therefore it's got a bigger retraction center point of the printer with the build plate and everything, so it's meant to go slower. You're not gonna get speed printing or whatever like that off this machine here. Um, Corey says, I try to go thicker walls on support pieces, especially if the model is only posed on one leg, because over time the weight of the model sag. It's true. However, if you run that infill, you won't have that problem. And another thing too is running at 1.8 millimeter thickness. You don't necessarily have to put in like UV LEDs or whatever like that up into the model itself because it'll still cure okay. You can do that. Sometimes it'll just make it that much brittle, but that's something you gotta kind of weigh your options. So these are all my settings right here, and I'll go over on a mid-size SLA printer. I'll go over some of the settings on there and show you. But I have upped my bottom retraction speed and everything, all this column right here. To be honest with you, I just keep it at 0. It does nothing beneficial for me whatsoever. So I just basically keep it like this. Exposure times are really gonna depend on your printer that you're using and, you know, the climate that you're in, or just your surroundings or whatever like that. There's a lot of benefactors. So always do your calibration print and, always make sure that, you know, that you test this out before you start wasting all the resin. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this right here. Now, one thing that I like to do is, or I don't like to do is, I don't like to print on flat planes right here. So even with this key here, I'm actually going to uh, tilt it a little bit. So I'm going to tilt this thing to the side. And the reason I do that is because if I go, you can go pretty much to any side that you want. You can go like this, which is fine. But the one thing that I don't want to do is I don't want to have this little small piece here flat on the build plate because you're going to get a lift on it, probably from the supports. And so I like to keep this up in the air. This side right here is not going to matter because it's basically one solid piece where you have like three little tails right here kind of kicked out. So, and plus I gotta think about this piece in the back. Um, so I will basically just kinda tilt it a little bit. Um, I'm not worried about it touching the build plate per se or anything like that. If you are, then you can, you know, orientate it the way you want to. This is just how I do it. And then, if you want to, you can tilt it back. This one here, I'm not gonna do anything except for maybe tilt it forward just a tad, like so, and then, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna hollow. Do the same process, 1.8, 50% structure, or I'm sorry, precision, and I'm gonna use my grid infill. Now, again, I can show you this, where if you don't use the grid, man, you're gonna have like wicked supports through here. So let's just do that. All right, you guys, I'd rather if you see this for yourself, so that way you're kind of a believer as what I'm showing. So let's go ahead and let's do this, and it's going to take a minute because it's a bigger piece. Let's see if I can read some of the comments here. Um, let's see here. We got like 30 comments. Uh, I guess everybody's watching, so nobody's really commenting right now. Um, Rob says, "Thanks for covering orientation." I think correct. So, yeah, I mean, there's different ways to do this. I just want to show you what I do, what works for me. A lot of people have been asking, and so I kind of wanted to come up with this whole thing on the live stream. That way, everybody can see how I do it because I print a lot of big models and I get pretty good results. Granted, I'm very fortunate, but I have worked with these settings for years and trying to get the best setting possible. I tell you, I don't speed print. I think that's totally useless, especially with resin printing. I run a lot of large machines, and if you start trying to speed print, well, there you're going to get failures after failures. The only thing that I am interested in is top quality prints. I don't care anything about finishing it early. I don't care about, um, you know, it just it doesn't have to finish printing early. I just want to make sure that I am getting a good solid print. And I can give me just 1 second while this is doing this. I'm going to get you this print that I actually did this way and let you see for yourself. So give me a second. Okay. All right. Here we are. All right. So this is the torso here. I don't know if you can see it. Um, this is the torso, and it printed all of that detail printed just fine. The tails there, this part right here that I was telling you about, printed just fine as well. And it's pretty thick, it's stable, it's sturdy. I mean, there's no give to it whatsoever. And this is the head. As you can see, all of that detail is in there. The detail turned out really, really nice. The supports held their own. And again, I have no issue whatsoever regarding, stabilization or anything like that. And this thing goes together really, really nice, like so. Granted, I don't have it glued together or anything like that. So here we go. Yeah, and turns out really, really nice. Very well detailed model. If you go over and check out Jules and his Patreon, yeah, I mean he does some really good models. Looking forward to what he's got coming out. And I think it's Jason Voorhees. Um, So Alan says, one of my main problems with Lychee is it supports on automatic. They always go over the top and way too busy. I also want a smaller contact support setting for the large suits. Okay. Chuck says, one thing that I learned is when you do your calibration, let's say exposure is 2.7, I bump it up by 3.0 to ensure solid supports, no print separation. That's a good point. Okay, so here we go. All right, so we got this thing here. It's all hollowed out. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's add in some drain holes here. I think I can get them bigger than 5 millimeters. Let's go up to 7. We're going to add those in here. And one thing I want you to keep in mind too is when I add these, I want to add at least one on a high point. And what do you mean by a high point? I want it to be to where the alcohol, the resin, and all that stuff will drain out, and that's why I like to put one in the bottom of the peg. Now I don't always use magnets in my models, um, but I wanna put one where I know the resin will drain really, really good, and so I'll just put a couple other ones here, there. Put one there, and again, you can put them all around if you want. I like to put them in the arms. I wanna make sure that I'm not concerned with drainage necessarily. I just don't want a lot of suction on this model where it's gonna distort it, cause it to pop off the plate and off the supports, and you get a failure. So here we go. And I go overkill on drain holes. So, alright. So here we go. All right, so I got it all established here. I'm gonna add supports to it. Again, I'm gonna use auto supports. If you use manual ones, go right ahead. I can tell you it is a friggin' headache on these larger detailed prints. Um, so here we go. We're gonna add it. Um, but it is entirely up to you. Again, if you're just coming onto the stream or whatever, this is what I do. You can do something totally different if it works for you or whatever works for you. If whatever you're doing right now is working for you, and keep it up. I encourage you to do that. But this is for the people that may want to learn a little about some of the tricks of the trade and about what I do, and maybe help some people out. That's why I'm doing this. So let's see here. But anyway, you will get some smaller, tiny little supports on the like if you see like right in here these little bitty strings looking things. Those right there, I just take some tweezers and pull those off. Those are not going to affect your model at all. You just go in there and just pull them. Uh, but those are in there for again so that you have good stability in your model yeah, for the little small fine detail pieces. All right. So here we go. Everything is supported. Now let's go right down with it. Bam. Look at all those supports in there, man. Look at all that. I don't want that in my model. That right there is going to um, it's costing me resin that I could use for printing other models. I'm running a risk of some resin getting trapped, this stuff breaking off. And to me, like, I just don't like it. I mean, it's just my personal preference. So yeah, I don't dig it. All right. So let's go back. Let's kill this. Let's go back, bring that torso back up, And then one I'm sorry to kinda drag this out, guys. I want you to see the difference, especially in a bigger piece. Alright? Let's increase everything here, 150. Alright, and now we're going to, put it in the same orientation that we had before, pretty damn close to it. Alright, so here we go, and let's go ahead and add that grid 3D infill. If you wanna go up to 10% or whatever, that's fine, but I think anything over 10% is gonna be overkill. Um, so here we go. While this is popping up here, um, and I want you to know that, like, there are certain parts of a model um, that I don't hollow out. Like, for example, here's a model of it's a Punisher model, and it's like a Spartan helmet. Of course, I printed this whole thing solid, even this back part right here. Um, I just don't want to run the risk of getting resin trapped up into there, and, if you hit an island or something like that, it's gonna catch it. So I printed this as one solid piece, but it's not heavy. Um, but pieces like that that are fairly thin structured, like hands or even sometimes guns, I'll print them solid. I like to print them solid because, like, the guns, the barrels would get resin trapped up into there, and they're just a bitch to get out. So, yeah. So Alan says if you're going to use magnets to connect parts, it helps to put in indent 0.2 millimeter larger than the magnet's dimensions. You get a good hold for, yeah, for use 5.2 right, okay, that's true. You can do that. I haven't had any issues doing the actual size, but, Alan's right, you can keep, resin tends to shrink, expand, whatever like that, contract, expand. So that's something that can happen. I don't have any issue, um, but it's probably a good practice to do. If anything, if you need to expand the hole any or whatever like that, you could probably take your Dremel, just kinda rim it out a little bit just to, make sure it's gonna fit, or you can take Alan's suggestion. Thanks, Alan, that's a good point to make. Alright, so as soon as this thing goes all the way through, I'll show you here. That's the bad thing about doing this live, guys, is the process can take a little bit. But yeah. Um, so let's see here. I'm not sure how many people we have on here. Can anybody tell me how many we have on here? I'm like looking at my phone down here because I can't see my screen and stuff. So, all right, here we go. Uh-oh, did it freeze on me? Do that. That's weird. Okay, I know what happened. I think. All right, still processing here. All right, here we go. That's why you need to break out the bass and ad lib. So I can play bass for you guys while this thing is no okay. I can play guitar, I got a guitar, I can play bass, I can do painting a little thing, like, really, really quick while this is doing it. How about that? Alright. Alright, so here we go. Let's go a little speed it up a little bit. There you go. See that? That grid fill that grid infill right there is on there. Um, alright, why is it I don't know why it's doing that again, but okay. Alright, let's stop here. Alright. So, as you see, that is in there. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's add those drain holes again. I'll try to be quick about this. So, doesn't matter where you add the holes. Um, Let's see. The tambourine is fine. Okay, yeah, we'll do tambourine on here. I can sing for you, but I just have a terrible voice. I can get Kim in here and she can sing while I play tambourine. How about that? Or she can play tambourine. Just have a good old time. Alright. I'm trying to add the same amount of holes as I did before, but it's not gonna matter matter because 'cause I'm just gonna show you what I was talking about earlier. Okay, here we go. Alright, so supports, auto supports, let's add them. Cowbell. Chuck is freaking right. We're gonna add more cowbell. We're gonna my wife says if you keep gabbing, I'm gonna grab one of your guitars. No, don't grab one of my guitars. Yeah, in case you guys don't know, I have been a bass guitar player for 42 years, 43 years. I play guitar, I can play drum, I can play a little bit of this than the other. Um, but yeah, okay, here we go. So again, here we go with the supports. They're added. Again, there nothing in there. Whoop, looks like one escaped. See that one right there? I don't know why it did that. It never usually does that. That's weird. It's that one support. But that 3D grid infill actually serves as support. System knows not to put that into there. So there you go. All right. So those are larger pieces. The other thing too is on these supports, if they're nothing there's nothing really grabbing into it, as you see how the conical shape right here is on there, these things break off really, really easy. Um, you only run into issues whenever you have, like, a series of them like this, and this isn't even really a big deal. See how they're all grouped together like that and closed or close together? Those might take a little bit of effort to pop off. But I remember when, uh, I took this piece off the bill plate, the supports basically fell off, and they did really good. So and again, this is pretty much a raw piece, right here. It's been cured, but I'm sorry, it's not raw. It's been cured, but I haven't done any prep work to it whatsoever, and there's no, support bumps or anything like that on there. It's, actually got a little bit of weight to it, doing it at 1.8 millimeter thickness. So anything else is overkill, to be honest with you. All right, so you guys got that one. I hope that helps you on that one. Um, so let's see a couple things here. William says, "Do you not switch to heavy supports for larger pieces?" No, sir, I do not. Because heavy supports will leave larger bumps. They will use more resin, and I just don't need to. If you have a piece like this, um, I don't see, I've never had any reason to use anything but medium supports. Um, auto support, take top setting, support, or other setting. Um, so it's just overall, the supports are all stock on Chi2 box except for the density percentage. So I hope that helps you. Nothing here is altered. It's just except for this right here. The only other thing that you might want to mess with a little bit is probably your Z lift, and that's just the lift from the top of the build plate to the bottom of the model. I keep mine at 5, and it does okay. I don't have any issues with it whatsoever. Um, Rob says, "I have seen supports on the inside of a model that the drain holes are large enough to allow one." Um, yeah, I mean, you can put I mean, if you don't do the, um, the infill structure, then it will put supports up into there, and if that's what you wanna do, that's fine. I just don't like to do it. I like to keep, um, anything from out of there that could be breaking and rattling around, not get cured correctly, have some loose resin or alcohol that stays up in there or whatever, it doesn't dry, and it winds up just coming out of your model. Um, Alan says, interesting to know. My main problem is with large supports. Might try only use a medium and see how that goes. Try it and see. I don't use light supports. I don't use heavies. I just use even on. I got a piece over here that I just printed that took up the whole entire build plate, and it took 37 hours to print, and it was all done with medium supports, and it printed flawlessly. So, so yeah. All right. So let's go to let me go to my let's go to the Uniformation GK2, and I'll show you these are the settings that I use here on this. And this is almost like everything my settings that I use on everything. Let's so the Lynette I run a 2.5 exposure time, but everything else is relatively the same. Uh, any cubic photon mono X. I have this is the wrong profile on this one. Let's see the Pro Max. Well, this is the Lynette deck. There is a slight issue with this one here because it does require a lot more bottom exposure time. But as far as lift and distance, it's basically all the same. So Uniformation GK2. Let's go to this one. Let's put something on this build plate. Let's do something. Well, now it's not going to want me to do it. Okay. All right. I'm going to have to stop sharing my screen there for a second and see if I can get this working. All right. So let's see here. All right. So here we go. All right. I'm going to stop sharing here. All right. Woo. That's a lot. That's a lot to go through. All right. Let me see if I can get it back up and running again. Give me just 1 second, guys. Let's see. It's something's not right here. It's not going to let me do it. All right. Well, anyway, I hope you guys get something out of that. The other thing that I like to do on there is, again, I was talking about not printing anything flat, always at an angle. So even if you get a base that that is flat or whatever like that, I usually like to stand it up. First, I like to stand it up straight, totally straight up, and then I'll actually lean it back just a little bit. And for some reason or other, Chitu box is being a butthole. Let me see if I can get it to working now. I really want to show you guys this. But if you put drain holes, yeah, why is this? It cuts out as soon as I do it here. Let's see. See when I do this, I try to go down with the cursor. It won't let me do it. I'll be damned. Nothing works for me right. Oh my gosh, really? So basically what I do on a base, I'll just kind of have to tell you probably. What I do on a base is when I stand it straight up and I kind of angle it towards the back a little bit, I will I'll take and yeah, it's not gonna work for me. I don't know what I'll probably have to restart my computer. Um, but I'll actually put drain holes in the back all the way around. And when you do the auto supports, it'll actually connect the supports up to drain holes. So what that does is gives you stability from the back. It doesn't like gob it down with a bunch of supports. It will on the one end. So my suggestion is when you put a base, uh, whatever you put down towards the build plate, it's not a highly detailed uh, base area that's going to put a lot of because it's going to put some support stubs on there. So you got to be careful on that. Um, so hopefully that helps out. All right. So showed all that in an hour. Oh, now look, all of my everything pops up here. All right, so I can get out of this. Oh, here we go. All right, so hope that helps. I'm still wanting to try to get TQ box up and running so I can show you guys. It's not going to let me do it. Damn it! What's going on with it? All right, all right. We'll just have to I'll just have to tell you guys. Butch says, "What do you think of the Saturn 8K? That's what I'm looking for." I haven't worked with any of the Saturns, to be honest with you. But I've shown people where they put the settings on the 8K of the Saturns and they work just fine. There's probably some people here in the chat here that has probably used them. My main go-to printer right now is the GK2. I just really like it. It's pricey, yes, but it's so easy to use, and it's just a wonderful printer. I mean, I haven't had any issues out of it whatsoever. So, um, but all right. So, the other thing that I can tell you that I do with orientation is with things like guns. Sometimes I will angle them, let the supports touch the bottom, but I don't always lay them flat or straight flat wise. I got to have them at an angle. Um, Sometimes, like with pistols, for example, if you have like pistols and pouches, I'll just stand them straight up and they work just fine. Um, but that's something you can work on as well. The Let me show you here. Um, All right, so let me get this right here, this model that's in front of me. This is a Punisher model, but it's probably not one that you've seen before. So this model here was done, I can't remember the lady's name. She's actually doing a commission for me right now. And as you can see, it's where I had to add resin and stuff. It shows like a little bit of line in there. But that's okay. But as you can see, a lot of this has like little knives sticking out, has stars sticking out. There's a lot of details that are really coming out of this model here. And what you would want to do is, so if I added heavy supports to these, they're going to connect with these things here, and they're going to leave some big stubs on there, and you're just not going to be able to get them off. Uh, the way that you'd want to. With medium supports, the things just pop right off. So, um, but yeah. Anyway, what I wanted to show you, I mean, this is a quarter scale model. I printed most of this on the GK2. The only thing that I printed on the Frozen Mega 8K were the pants because the boots tied off right there. Uh, Actually, no, I didn't. I printed this all on the GK2 because the way it's laid out is just awesome. You got the arms that go on here to the torso. The shoulder pads are different. This pops off. There's actually some really nice long katanas that come with it. There's a lot of accessories that go with this. So I'm going to lay this down and I'm going to show you the base. And this was a tricky base, and that's why I want to show it to you. And it's massive. All right. So this is the base. This is the base. It's all one piece. All right. Um, and as you can see, the stars that come out. There's a lot of detail in the top of this thing. And to show you that it's all one piece, there's the drain holes right there. There's no, yeah. I printed this on the Mega 8K. And the way I printed it was I had it basically, um, and let me see if I can find the stubbles here. All right, this side right here. So I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but there's stubbles basically all around through here that I have to sand down. And I'm a little close to my mic. Um, but there's a lot of stubbles right in here. And I printed it like this. I had it printed back just a little bit. I didn't print it down like this. I didn't print it flat, and I didn't print it straight up. But I angled it just enough where the supports, and you can tell the supports actually come from the bottom of the build plate up to these holes to support it. So I didn't have to worry, and I used mediums. I didn't use heavy. I used mediums, and it's stable. I did this in a 2 millimeter thickness, but it's not gonna break, and it's very stable. It has the grid infill in it. This one has totally been cured, and I mean, it can be done. So yeah, yes, Alan, mediums on this. And if you don't believe me, you can look here closer, and you can see the medium supports on the end of that, the support divots right there, and it's really not that bad. It's on a smooth surface, so it's going to be easy to sand that off. Yeah, mediums on this, and this took 34 hours to print. So that's one of them. The other base, you think that one's big? Let me get this one right here for you. I'm going to show you a big base. All right. This is part of a base. That is one piece. One. This is the base that goes to Jules Model Auto's Punisher. I did have one little hiccup right here in the middle, which you could see it split apart right there. Not sure what happened, but that's an easy fix. That is, you just close that up. You just close that up with a little putty or something like that. But this base right here, this was 47 hours to print, and it was all done with medium supports. So, and I was lucky enough to get the supports to only print on the bottom. And there's nothing up here on the detail. You see those little scragglers that I was telling you about that just need to come off, just pick them off. I mean, they'll just pop right off. Get some tweezers, pop them right off, just like that. But it didn't inhibit any of the detail whatsoever. And I split this. This base here was like 4 pieces or 3 pieces, and I split it up one piece in mesh mixer because it was so flippin' big. And this is printed at 150% to the original scale. I believe it was 1/6. So this isn't all of the base. Let me show you the top. Let me get the other pieces. I want to show you this because I really want you guys to see how you can print big pieces and print them and get them to turn out really, really nice. Because I absolutely love this model. This is actually going to be one of my next videos. So give me a second. All of this right here is the base. Right. So yeah, you want to talk massive. This is probably going to be the biggest base that I've done, even bigger than probably than the juggernaut that I did. So I had to split this one, and the way I split it was, I believe I did it. Geez, I don't even remember. Here we go. So I had to diagonally split it. No, the base was printed this was all done on the Sonic Mega 8K. And I hope it didn't fall apart. And this is all resin. This is all resin right here, guys. And let me move my keyboard a little bit and add this one piece. Goes right up on there, just like that. So that is a base. If you want to know what a base looks like on a quarter scale, there you go. There, that's it right there. And the Punisher model itself will go up here. If you've seen Jules' Punisher, it actually sticks up there like he's sliding down it here. And yeah, I am going to need a lot of paint. So this is it. So this, I split it into 4 pieces, and it turned out really good. As you can see right here where this connects, that seam line right there is going to be minimal. Again, that's another thing I want to kind of talk to you guys about. So if you print away, like the support stubs are over on this side, there's nothing on here. This is printed in flat. So if you print with no supports here, no supports to the conjoining surface, like I've made videos on this, and people still ask me, it will fit flush and flat together, no warpage or anything like that. And I mean, it goes together really good. The seam lines are minimal. And the only reason this is probably not holding together is because the daggum thing's so big and I have to take my time in order to put it together. But let's see. Let's just do one piece at a time. So, and I've dropped one of these pieces too to show to give you an indication of how flexible and sturdy they are. So like if you see that line right there, if I get it ever together here, I mean, once I get it together, there's not going to be much of a seam line right there. I'm trying to hold this thing. I'm trying to show you guys on the camera, but the seam lines are straight, and that's because on the back of these, there's no support divots whatsoever. So, let me see here. All right, so I'm going to set this down. All right. So again, when you're printing a piece like this, and you have to cut it, and it has to be flat to join another piece, don't put supports on the conjoining pieces. It's okay to put drain holes, but don't put any supports on there, and your piece will fit flush and it will fit like a glove. And if everything goes right, then you won't have to worry about a lot of filling. So I hope that helps out too. All right. Man, I did that in an hour and had problems. So I hope you guys get that. Let me see here. Anything else to show you? I actually have one piece that's actually bigger than that just printed, and it's not been cleaned or cured yet. So it's yeah. Let me see. Steve, are you on? It's good to see you, buddy. Or see you on here. So yeah, I went primer hunting the other day, and nobody had any primer. And that's like a first. So I got a lot of models done, and yeah, no primer. Okay. So even let me show you this one last piece. I keep going away from the camera, but I want to keep showing you guys. This is a big piece that I printed. So this is a coattail. This is a coattail to a model, to a quarter scale Punisher animated model that I'm doing. This is solid. This is not hollow at all. And again, I printed it with medium supports. So, I mean, it's heavy. It's got some weight to it, but I didn't have to worry about it dropping or anything like that. It held together just fine. It's all about orientation and making how your supports are going to connect. But just wanted to show you that. I mean, but it's a solid piece. It's not hollow, obviously. How are you going to hollow that? And it's pretty good weight to it. So it can be done with medium supports. All right. All right, guys. No, I do not buy it by the gallon. I will probably be better off if I do. I do have quite a few sponsors that send me resin to try out. I could tell you some of the resin that I used. I can't even pronounce the company's name, but it's called Fun Cresol, or something like that. But these guys sent me some resin and to use, and it is great. It's awesome. Um, None of this is done with Sunlu. Sunlu is what I normally use, but all this is done with a Fun Cresol, or whatever it's called. I'm going to be doing a video for that to show you guys the different resin and everything. And yeah. Then they've got a nice dark gray. They've got a nice light gray. They have a good skin colored um, resin as well, a beige resin, if you will. So yeah, and yes, I would buy primer by the gallon if I could, because I'm always needing it. Um, but yeah, those are the biggest models that I'm working on right now. See if I could show you anything else right now. Just other than that, what I've been printing up, I really don't have anything else. Um, but anyway, intricate items like weapons, hands with fingers and stuff. The one thing that you want to do when you're printing like hands, well, let's say if you have like the Superman that I did, where he's kind of got his hands like this. What I like to do is I like to print that hand with the finger standing straight up. If you print it down, you're going to get flat spots on the tips of your fingers sometimes because it doesn't know to connect the support to the finger. And so that's why I usually have everything up. So, like, I printed a katana, and let me show you the katana. Okay, I can't show you the katana because I don't have it. Um, I could show you a couple other things. So let's see here. Give me just a second, guys. Here we go. All right, here we go. Here's a couple of things here, weapons wise. That is a pretty good, massive katana for a quarter scale piece, and it's all solid. And it's printed all really nice, printed straight. Um, as you can see, there's no warpage or anything. Of course, it's flexible. It's been cured. All the details are there in the handle. It goes to this Punisher model here, this big one that I was showing you guys. Fits up really nicely. I can't remember which side it goes in. It might be this one here, but I don't want to break the hand or whatever. Anywho, it'll go up in there. I'm not going to force it right now. I'll have to fool with it. But anyway, it goes to this model. And then there's a shorter katana. But the way I printed this was I printed it up like this. Some of the ones I will print straight up, and they work just fine. But I didn't do that one because this has a flat surface. And remember, I said that you don't want to print flat surfaces parallel to the build plate. You definitely want to give it an angle. But this one, I actually, because it's so long, I had to print it on the Mega 8K. So yeah, so I hope that helps you. Guns, like this one here, is solid with the hand. Um, uh, I did the same thing. I printed this up just like that. You can also print it like this, but again, I don't. I did print it like this. I see the supports right there. You see it? The support little stubs right there. So yeah, I printed it just like this. You can print it straight up if you want, but again, I don't want that flat surface parallel to the build plate. So I'm going to print it at an angle, and it just makes that much of a better print. So that is something uh, to to keep in mind. Here's an even bigger gun. This damn thing is massive. Um, this is not well, this is yeah, this is one long piece. And this was printed on the Lynette base, or I'm sorry, the Lynette deck. But again, all that detail is there. This one is actually hollow. As you can see, there's a drain hole right up in there. There's a drain hole right there. So I've got my drain holes in there, and I've got one on the bottom. So when it comes to suction or whatever like that, it did fine. Um, but the details there. This gun here, again, I printed it at a slight angle like so, and it printed out just fine. Uh, so you can print. Um, I mean, intricate stuff on here, highly detailed stuff. Just visualize where your details are because you don't want to put a lot of supports in towards those areas. So, like if I was to print it sideways or something, it's going to come out warpy. I mean, it's going to come out funky or whatever. Um, and I don't want to put a lot of support marks and stuff on that area. So, yeah. All right. So if that helped anybody, the only way I can get interaction from you guys is to give me a hell yeah in the comments if that helped anybody. If it didn't, just thank you for watching the video. Um, all right. So let's see. Oh, I'm long-winded tonight, right? I had a good day at work. I'll say that. My wife knows what I'm talking about. It was a good day at work today. So I rushed home, got everything set up for you guys, and here we are on the live stream. So wife says it was all Greek to her. Um, so anyway, let's see. So yeah, that's one thing, guys. If you're not part of my Discord, I do have a private Discord that we go over stuff like this all the time. And if you need any help, any personal one-on-one help, we do have a voice channel on there where we can get on, like on Microsoft Teams or something like that, and then we can um, and then we can talk and interact together, and we can kind of help with some of the issues you might be having. But also on the Discord, we talk about everything. I mean, we have a good time on there. We got a lot of good participants. A lot of them are in the chat tonight, so I thank you guys for coming out. But um, it's a matter of, hey, if you want to be part of the Discord, of course, you join the Patreon. I don't open the Discord to everyone because we would definitely get flooded with a ton of stuff. And I like to be a little bit more personable with everybody and talk to them one on one. And with a lot of people on there, we just can't simply do it. And if the Patreon grows, then we'll figure it out. I mean, but for the time being, um, yeah, that's pretty much what we do. I also do a model of the month. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing about it. I did. We've done some models together. We've printed and painted some and troubleshooted some things or whatever like that. But if you join the $10 tier, you get the model of the month. Oh, and Rob comes in with the $9.99. Thanks, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you, Rob. All right. So Scott says he's still learning, getting to the point of information overload. It can be overwhelming. I try not to make it overwhelming for the guys in the group, but there is a lot of stuff to take in. Don't try to do everything at one time. Try to do what fits you. for the time being. Like if you're printing out something small, don't worry about um, thinking about a big print or whatever like that. Think small. Look at what you're printing. Um, do your information, seek it through and stuff, kind of fiddle with the orientation a little bit. Just don't get overwhelmed. I mean, it's easy to do when you have a lot of people telling you, "Well, do this, you do this, you do this. No, do this, no, do this." Experimenting takes a lot of it takes a lot. I've done this for a couple of years now, where it was like to the point to where, I was just messing up stuff. I had failed prints everywhere, but I kept going and kept going and kept dabbling with it stuff until I hit a good sweet spot. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. So hopefully some of this stuff helps you guys. And that also goes to FDM printing. So if you guys are not resin printers and you're into FDM and everything, the orientation part is basically the same. I mean, I like to print the same way. The only difference is with an FDM printer, when you have flat surfaces, um, you can print flat on there to the build plate. That's actually recommended that way. But if you have like just a massive piece that you have to angle, then you get good support settings and stuff, and go to it. But all right. Mm, see, my wife says I owe her a ridiculously large FDM katana. So yeah, so we saw this. My son sent me um, this video. This guy he printed a print in place katana that folds out. And those things are super cool. So I'm gonna be doing some of that stuff here soon. As soon as I get everything set up. Stobar with a $10. So he said this is part of the new computer fund. So in case you guys didn't know, I'm saving up to get a new PC. Mine is having some issues with it's old, and I'm looking to upgrade, especially doing live streams um, and everything now. So I am really appreciative of you guys chipping in and helping out because that's where all this is going to. So thank you very much. Brr, 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 brr. All right. So I'm sorry, an hour and 17 minutes in. I hope you guys got something out of it. We'll move to the point of the live stream where I will answer questions. If you guys have anything, by all means, pop your questions in the chat. I will try to answer in the order that they're taken in, and pretty much just ask away. Let's see here. Is there anybody? Let me see. Give me 1 second. All right. All right. Does anybody have any questions regarding anything? Anything to do with printing? Anything to do with painting? Be glad to try and help out anyone. Um, Steve, you'll always have a place in the Discord. I'm just going to let you know, though, Aaron has taken your spot on the blame game. Yes, sir. We'll be glad to have you on there, sir. Um, have I used Lychee Slicer? Why do you use G2 Box over it? So I have used Lychee. For me, G2 Box is just um, that easy for me to use. It's so easy. Um, it's very user friendly to me. I know a lot of people hate it, but I like it. As you can see, what I did earlier, it was just like pop, 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 and it's done. Um, I just don't have any problems out of it. And it's the old thing: if it's not broke, don't fix it. Lychee, I didn't like the fluidity of the way it was. I guess if that makes sense. So So yeah, that's why I like G2 Box. A lot of people hate it, but I don't care. I like it. Yes, Steve, you still get blamed all the time, by the way. Okay, so here we go. Sergeant knows what I'm talking about. He just did a sword for his son's birthday. It was Zorro from One Piece. Was it the ones that fold out or whatever like that? Those are really cool. Steve said his ears are always burning. Excuse me while I get a little because I run my mouth too much. Yeah, so Aaron needs to be disciplined over there, sir. So we need you back on the Discord, man. Everybody misses you. We hope you're feeling better and doing well. All right. So, all right, guys, we're an hour and 20 minutes in. I'm getting ready to call it. We don't have any more questions. You guys have been awesome. Um, a lot of the streaming stuff is new to me. I'm no pro at it whatsoever. Um, but I appreciate you guys being patient while I learn this. We learn it together. um, so hopefully, showing you that on up close and everything helps you with some of the issues that you might be having. Again, to kind of go through it like a just a synopsis, I don't use anything but auto supports. For me, it takes the guesswork out. I use medium supports only. I don't use light. I don't use heavy. As you can see, those big pieces that I printed are all done with medium supports. Um, Drain holes, overkill. I live by that. I do the 5% in grid infill to keep supports out of the inner part of my models. That way, I'm not wasting resin. That way, I don't have to worry about resin leaking out. And when it comes to islands, that is something that you're going to have to take on a one by one basis because it happens. When you see islands in there, when you're actually going through it, you can actually take and put support or drain holes in there as well. I didn't get a chance to show you that, but that is something you can do. Um, Sneak peek for upcoming projects. Yeah, I just showed you the Punisher that I'm doing. I have actually 5 Punisher models that I'm doing because I intend on doing a video to show you all of my Punisher models, and I don't think you guys realize how many I have. So I think that'll make for a good video because there's some on there that you guys have probably never seen. Um, I've got, of course, I got Juggernaut and Colossus that I have to finish. I have Jeepers Creepers. We went over that. That was the model I was using earlier from Jules Model Auto. I also I've got his leather face that I'm eventually going to do. Um, let me see. There's a lot of Punisher models I'm just looking at right now that I'm going to be doing. I also have Batman Grim Knight that I have to finish. That one's going to be soon. I have a Daredevil that I have to finish. Um, and then I also have our most recent model of the month, which was Punisher War Journal with Wolverine versus Punisher. You can still get that model for $10 if you join the $10 tier on the Patreon. The model for the Patreon or the link for the Patreon will be in the description below. Also, guys, if there's anything, also check the description below as well for like anything that I have on Amazon that are affiliate links. I do get a little bit of a kickback from that. Doesn't cost you extra, on anything, but a lot of stuff that I use for my models and in my videos, it's all down there. I also have a storefront now, so there's a link for that. Go in there, click on there. Anything that you order again goes to help support the channel. So I greatly appreciate that if you do that. Also, if you haven't hit that like button, guys, do so for me. Um, that way we kind of keep the algorithm happy, if you know what I mean. Any videos on FDM yet? Not yet, but they are coming. I'm actually setting up a couple of printers tomorrow. I'm off work tomorrow, and I'm on vacation next week. So we're going to be doing some FDM printing. So yeah, All right, guys. I'm getting ready to get out of here, guys. I still have to eat, but I do appreciate you guys taking the time to um, be here with me. So Rob says, how goes Scarlet? Scarlet um, is in the works. We're changing the pose a little bit. I think somebody had a better idea in the Discord. So I take that advice, and we're changing it up a little bit, but it's going to be a little bit more of a dynamic pose. And I just released some updates on Serpentor. He is going to be done probably at the end of November. It's taken some time to get done, and but I don't want to rush the artist and get him done. And also, guys, I know I said it before, but I have the most awesome model hitting you guys very, very soon. It's supposed to be done here in the next couple of weeks or so. It is going to be my Christmas present to my Patreon. It is going to be wild. You're going to love it. It's a total of, I think, maybe 6 characters on this diorama. But you haven't seen anything like it, I promise. And it's the most badass thing I think I've ever seen in a model. And I'm really, really happy too. So um, I've also got Destro in the works. I don't think I posted that, but that's kind of a little surprise. You heard it here first. But we have 3 Joes already in the works. We got Scarlet, we got Serpentor, and we have Destro. Once these guys are done, then I'm going to have Major Blood, Zartan, and Major Blood, Zartan, and I think the Dreadnoks will come shortly after that. So, yeah. So you want to be part of the Patreon? Go over there and join that $10 tier. And when those models come up and everything, as long as you're a current subscriber, you will get those models for free. All right. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you for all the support on the channel. We just hit I think 20,200 subscribers. And man, that's awesome. And thank you guys so much. Give yourself a round of applause for that because I owe it all to you. This is your channel, and I want you to know that. I'm very humble in your support. And again, smash that like button for me on your way out. And tune in next week. If you guys have any topics that you'd like to discuss on the live stream, let me know in the comments. I still read the comments. If you're in my Discord and there's a topic that you want, and it's something that everybody wants to really get into or whatever like that, we'll touch base in it. I do plan on having Tony back pretty soon. If you guys knew Tony from Greedy 3D, he's been on the channel a couple of times. A super, super nice guy. I love that dude. He is awesome. His channel is growing. He's doing really good and everything. I want to have him back on again. And I've got some more Patreon creators that are looking to get onto the channel as well. Man, I have the lady who did this. Again, it's a woman. You don't see very many women into this game right here, but yeah, she created this model. She is a phenomenal artist, and she's doing a commission for me right now on another Punisher model. Yeah, I'm going to be commissioning Punisher models till I die. So you guys get used to it. If you're sick of Punisher, then I'm sorry. But anyway, I hope to have her on. If we can get it done and everything like that. So we're going to be doing all that stuff. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. I'm out of here. Stay safe. Don't forget, get out and create something. Print, prep, repeat. Until the next live stream, everybody. Hey, Starch, we will have you on, buddy. I promise. Here soon. But until the next live stream, the next video, everybody, we'll see you, okay? Have a good night, guys. Thank you.